The Stones of Resilience. Chapter 1. The Fall. Ethan Cole was not just an ordinary man, he was a husband, a father, a friend, and an ambitious financial analyst climbing the corporate ladder in a competitive firm. At 37, he felt invincible. With Clara by his side, he believed there was nothing he couldn't achieve. Their laughter filled their suburban home, where echoes of playful arguments over house chores turned into soft whispers of promises for the future. The weekend barbecues with friends were the highlights of their lives, the aroma of grilled food mingling with joyous laughter. But one evening, everything changed. The phone call came as a jarring interruption. Clara had been in a car accident. The frantic rush to the hospital felt surreal, time bending in a cruel manner as Ethan's heart pounded against his chest, dread pooling in his gut. When the doctor finally emerged, the world around him faded at the sound of those fateful words, "I'm sorry." The grief that enveloped him was suffocating. The funeral felt like a foggy dream, each moment slipping through his fingers like fine sand. Friends and family came to console him, but their words were distant whispers in a storm that raged inside his mind. Unable to cope, responsibility crumbled atop his shoulders. Just weeks after losing Clara, Ethan was laid off from his job, the company citing cost reductions. He was a man stripped of his identity, left in a barren apartment filled with ghosts and shadows of a life that once thrived. Days turned into weeks, and he found himself enclosed within four walls that echoed his sorrow. The photographs of Clara on the walls felt like knives piercing his heart. Every corner of the house was steeped in memories, her laughter tickling his ear in the kitchen, her warm embrace in the living room. Each day, the weight of despair grew heavier. Sleepless nights morphed into days of counting the hours, and for the first time in his life, he faced the daunting emptiness of a life stripped bare. Chapter 2. The Spark of Change. One dreary afternoon, as rain splattered against the windows, Ethan sorted through boxes of Clara's belongings, desperately grasping at remnants of the life they had shared. He halted abruptly when he stumbled upon a well-worn book tucked away between sheets of crumpled parchment, a dog-eared copy of Marcus Aurelius' Meditations ***. Intrigued and lost in a haze of nostalgia, he opened it, revealing not just profound insights but also Clara's annotations in the margins, her handwritten thoughts offering glimpses of her inner world. "What stands in the way becomes the way," one note read, and another line scribbled, "We are responsible for our own happiness." Something inside him stirred, a flicker of curiosity amidst the engulfing flames of grief. Grief was undeniably painful, but the potential of turning that pain into something meaningful began to take root in his mind. Ethan decided to dive deeper into Stoicism, a philosophy centered on resilience amidst suffering. He immersed himself in reading day and night, searching for answers, and finding solace in the wisdom of ancient thinkers. Slowly, the principles began to resonate, understanding that life was not just built on circumstances but also on reactions to those circumstances. Stoicism urged him to face his anguish not with resignation but as an opportunity for transformation. Chapter 3. The First Step. Acknowledge what you control. Ethan started his journey with the cornerstone of Stoicism, the realization that he could only control his thoughts and actions, not the uncontrollable tide of life. He sat on the edge of his bed, notebook in hand, drawing a line down the middle of a page. On one side, he listed everything he couldn't control: Clara's death, his job loss, the pain that engulfed him. On the other side, he wrote down the things he could: his reactions, his thoughts, and his actions. With each day, this practice became a mental exercise in empowerment. He would take long walks in the park, finding solace in the crisp air, allowing nature to remind him of life's continuity, a stark contrast to the stillness he felt inside. During one of those quiet moments, beneath the leafy canopy of the trees, he felt anger boiling within him, a restless frustration for the fate that had befallen him. But then it hit him: he had the power to transform that anger into something constructive. He embraced this notion, realizing that although he couldn't change the past, he had the ability to influence his future. With his heart pounding, he promised himself to seek meaning in the chaos. Chapter 4. The Second Step. Embrace discomfort. One chilly morning, Ethan woke feeling stagnant, burdened by the weight of his own inertia. He decided that instead of succumbing to the comfort of his apartment, he would go for a jog in the park, a simple act of defiance against the malaise that had settled over him. As he laced up his sneakers, he felt a spark of determination ignite within him. The initial steps were laborious, each breath a reminder of his fragility, but with every stride, he pushed through the physical discomfort. The icy air gripped him, but he welcomed it. It was a sign of life, a reminder that he was still capable of feeling. Soon enough, Sweat dripped from his brow, mixing with the raw chill of the air, and he found himself running faster, letting go of the emotional weights that clung to him like shackles. After that day, he committed to making discomfort his ally. He signed up for a local hiking group, dressing as if he were preparing for a mountain expedition. The initial trepidation melted away as he climbed steep trails, discovering strength he thought lost. Each ascent became a metaphor for his journey, arduous yet rewarding. Ethan realized that overcoming physical challenges helped him navigate the emotional turmoil he carried. He learned that discomfort was not just a burden but a teacher, widening his perspective of resilience. Chapter 5. The third step, practice mindfulness. Amidst his physical journey, Ethan discovered the quiet power of mindfulness. Each morning, he dedicated time to silence his racing thoughts. He found a corner in his cozy apartment, set up a simple mat, and committed to a practice of stillness. At first, sitting in silence felt foreign, the whirlwind of thoughts swirling like a storm, making focus an elusive goal. But with each session, he became more adept at acknowledging the chaos without judgment. He discovered guided meditation apps and began following them diligently. The gentle instruction of mindfulness teachers reminded him of the present moment's beauty and importance. During one particular session, Ethan wished to escape the waves of grief that crashed over him. Instead, he learned to breathe through them, acknowledging their presence without allowing them to define him. As days turned into weeks, he started observing not only his thoughts but also the world around him. The chirping of birds outside, the laughter of children playing in the park, and the rustling of leaves became part of his daily practice, reminders that life thrived outside his window. Mindfulness transformed his perception. It taught him to appreciate fleeting moments, giving him strength to confront each day anew. Chapter 6. The fourth step, reflect on priorities. Ethan soon realized that reflection would be vital to his rebuilding journey. As he pondered his life before the tragedy, he recognized the relentless pursuit of success that had consumed him. The corporate rat race had entangled him in a web of stress and disillusionment. Now, stripped of material distractions, he craved a richer sense of purpose. Armed with a notebook, he spent evenings mapping out the core values that mattered most to him. What truly brought him joy? What would he create space for in his new life? The sessions were raw and emotional, woven with tears and insights. He identified health, community, and honoring Clara's memory as his primary priorities. With clarity blossoming, Ethan made a conscious choice to surround himself with positive influences. He joined support groups where people shared stories of grief and resilience, creating a communal space of shared understanding and healing. He found beauty in their stories, lives carved from pain, yet blooming with the hope of renewal. His priority to honor Clara's memory led him to volunteer at a local children's hospital, where he shared his journey to help others cope with loss. Through the eyes of the children, he rediscovered laughter and joy. This commitment became a guiding light, reminding him that nurturing others could help cultivate his own healing. Chapter 7. The fifth step, cultivate gratitude. Each night, Ethan began a simple ritual. He would jot down 3 things he was grateful for. At first, the process felt excruciating. How could he possibly find gratitude when he had lost Clara? But with time, he discovered the importance of reorienting his focus. The first few entries were mundane: a warm cup of coffee, the rustling of trees outside, a sunny afternoon. Yet, each act brought a quiet joy that began to illuminate the shadows. As the weeks passed, his lists grew longer and more profound. He expressed gratitude for the support from friends and family, the strength to wake up each day, and even for the warmth of Clara's love that still filled his heart. The practice transformed his mindset, allowing him to see life through a lens of appreciation rather than loss. He learned that gratitude was not merely an act of acknowledgement but a profound exercise in intention. It shifted his attention from scarcity to abundance, fostering resilience in the face of adversity. Soon, he felt lighter, discovering pockets of joy in the simplest of moments. Chapter 8. The sixth step, find purpose. Driven by a newfound sense of purpose, Ethan sought to infuse meaning into the fragments of his life. He had witnessed the power of compassion while volunteering, but he wanted to delve deeper. One evening, while sifting through Clara's belongings, he came across her old shrine of art supplies. Clara had been passionate about painting, a hobby overshadowed by her dedication to medicine. Recognizing the power of creativity, Ethan decided to take an art class at a local community center. The first few sessions were intimidating. The sound of brushes against canvases, the soft murmur of encouragement from others made his heart race. But as he picked up the brush, he felt Clara with him, guiding his strokes. Each canvas became an emotional outlet, a space to express the turmoil within him, the vibrant blues reflecting sorrow, the fiery reds capturing anger, and the gentle greens symbolizing hope. As he painted, he began to process his grief, transforming it into colors and shapes. He found solace in the strokes of paint and lines of charcoal, gradually rebuilding a sense of control over his life. Members of the class encouraged him to join an upcoming exhibition, offering him a platform to share his journey through art. The thought felt foreign yet thrilling, an opportunity to reclaim his voice. Chapter 9. The Seventh Step, Accept Impermanence. Amidst artistic pursuits, Ethan stumbled upon the Stoic principle of accepting impermanence. He began to explore the depth of his emotional experiences, reflecting on how everything in life, joy, pain, love, and loss, is fleeting. It was during a quiet evening at the shoreline that the tide of understanding washed over him. As the waves ebbed and flowed, he marveled at the transience of everything around him. He watched children building sandcastles, only to watch them disappear under the gentle caress of the sea. In that moment, he understood. Loss was inherent in life, a cycle that shaped our experiences. This perspective became liberating. With acceptance came a sense of peace, allowing him to appreciate moments without gripping tightly, willing them to last forever. Ethan learned to find joy in the present, to embrace life's impermanence as a part of the journey, instead of a source of pain. He started a mindfulness journal, where he documented these reflections, immersing himself in nature and witnessing the beautiful transience around him. Everything from the blooming flowers in spring to the changing leaves in autumn reminded him of the inherent beauty in life's temporary nature. Chapter 10. The Eighth Step, Embrace Change. Ethan, now transformed by his journey, recognized the importance of embracing change. Encouraged by newfound friends from the art class, he decided to take a bold step, enrolling in an online program on graphic design, an area he'd always admired but never had the courage to explore. Nervous but excited, he set up a corner in his apartment as a study space, filled with design books and digital tools. Each module became a playground for creativity. He learned to create stunning visuals that drew on his experiences. With every lesson, he felt the flicker of hope reignite, a spark that illuminated new possibilities. As he delved into graphic design, Ethan experienced fluctuations in confidence. At times, doubt threatened to creep back into the shadows, nudging at him to retreat to familiarity. But with every sketch and project, he reminded himself that growth happens at the edge of discomfort. He allowed himself to stumble, understanding that mastery takes time. Months passed, and as he improved, he realized he held the skill to communicate stories through art. With newfound confidence, he initiated a project to create a series about healing through loss, intertwining visual storytelling with his journey. This endeavor fused his past with his present, reminding him that every setback could become a stepping stone toward more profound connections. Chapter 11. The Ninth Step, Strengthen Relationships. With his heart now open, Ethan sought to strengthen the relationships that remained in his life. He recognized the significance of community and the support that friendships could lend during dark times. He reached out to old friends, people he had distanced himself from during his grief. The first text felt like reaching out across an abyss of time, but the response was immediate and warm. A reunion was inevitable, and that day was filled with laughter echoing through a cozy cafe. They reminisced about college days, shared personal stories, and wove new memories together. With tequila shots and heartfelt toasts in honor of Clara, he found healing in vulnerability and reconnection. Each conversation, each shared smile peeled away layers of isolation he had worn for far too long. In an effort to keep the spirits high, Ethan initiated monthly game nights with friends old and new. The laughter, the friendly banter, and the moments of play became essential to his new routine. He discovered that being surrounded by those he cared for offered a sanctuary of love and support, a reminder that relationships could be a balm for his healing heart. Through these connections, Ethan started to speak openly about his journey, finding that sharing his story often encouraged others to do the same. Encouraged by his friends, he organized potluck dinners, inviting people to gather, share food, and create a sense of belonging, breathing life back into the lifeless corners of his existence. Chapter 12. The Tenth Step, Find Wisdom in Adversity. Ethan recognized that wisdom often resided in the ashes of adversity. Through meditation, mindfulness, and his renewed perspective, he unearthed truths that had once eluded him during his struggles. The grief that had consumed him transformed into a source of empathy, compassion, and understanding for others facing their battles. He wrote a memoir interlaced with chapters of loss, love, recovery, and rebirth, a dedication to Clara that embodied their shared dreams. The pages flowed with raw emotion, highlighting the beauty of vulnerability. When he shared it with friends, their response was profound. They applauded his courage, his authenticity, and many shared their own stories of loss and growth. With encouragement from his friends, he entered the memoir into a local literary competition. The decision felt monumental, a leap into the unknown, yet it was an essential step toward honoring Clara's memory. As he awaited the results, he initiated a community workshop focused on storytelling as a form of healing. He shared tools of expression with others who had faced loss, fostering spaces where vulnerability bloomed into strength. The stories shared in those sessions became testimonies of resilience, a testament to the strength of the human spirit when confronted with hardship. Epilogue. The solid foundation. 2 years after that fateful night, Ethan stood before a gathering of community members and friends, sharing not just his story of loss but also of rebirth, transformation, and resilience. The room was filled with the warmth of shared stories, a celebration of the journeys they had undertaken collectively. Life will challenge us, he shared, his voice steady, but through every bruise, every wound, we can forge something beautiful. Let us take the lessons learned in our darkness and illuminate our path forward. His words resonated through the crowd, an echo of hope and strength. He concluded, though I lost everything, I found myself again. I found the ability to build a life that honors Clara, a life defined not by grief but by growth, connection, and love. With that, he stepped down from the podium, a testament to the power of resilience. Ethan had faced the shadows of despair, and rather than breaking him, they had shaped him, guiding him toward a future brimming with purpose, unearthing the stones of resilience to create a solid foundation upon which he could continue to build.